Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my February TBR. This year I will be playing Tori's Roll for Reads TBR game. This is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, and I was so curious about rolling all these different sided die to help me choose my reads. We also create a character, and sometimes we have this storyline to work through like we did in October of last year, and I just think that this is so much fun, though I am the queen of making lists and never completing them. At the beginning of the year, I did decide to keep my character from last year. This is what she looks like. She is a ranger, and we went into the new year with 45,250 XP, making her a level 8. These were the 4 books I was supposed to read for my January TBR, for my Roll for Reads, and I didn't finish a single one of them. So I have decided that I am going to keep my TBR for the entire year and just keep rolling it over and over. I will be completing my quests, my dungeons, my monsters as we go along, and I'll still let myself have the XP. That is not a part of the rules. However, I will roll for my disadvantage with my D4 for not completing my TBR, and it was so easy, so perfect. I'm sorry, Sam. Bestie Sam basically picked my TBR for me last month, and it couldn't have been better stacked, but I am the queen of distraction. Let's roll the D4 and see what my disadvantage is for February. To kick things off, I do unfortunately need to roll for my disadvantage for not finishing my January TBR. Disadvantage number 2, lose 500 XP. So I'm losing 500 XP as my punishment for not reading the books on my TBR. I didn't even start 3 of them. That is crazy. And I read 8 or 9 books in January, but not the ones I was supposed to. Happens every time. So those will be rolling ahead with me into February, and we'll see how much damage I can do by the end of the year on all of the TBRs that I make. Because we lost XP and we didn't earn any last month, I now have 44,750 XP, but I'm still a level 8, so thank goodness I did not lose a level. Tori also introduced armor ratings for 2026, and for me, for every book I read off my physical TBR in the month, I'm going to give myself 1 point. If you're curious about any of the rules, I will have Tori Between Pages linked in my description box, of course, and you should check out her video. And she has a fully encompassing Google Doc that has all the rules that you need to know. So I read 3 books off my physical TBR in the entire month of January. So I'm giving myself an armor rating of 3. Don't know if that's useful yet or not, but I'm going to keep track of it nonetheless. Thank you to Helen, who left a comment on my January TBR on a better way to roll for my prompts this month. So that is what we are going to be doing. We will roll 4 times and try and get 4 more books on the TBR and see whether I stick with these or not. Let's do roll number 1. We will now be doing roll number 1. Thank you to Helen for giving me this D6 key. I think this is going to be much better than how I did my rolls for January. We'll be rolling both a D6 and a D20 at the same time. So we got a 4 and a 1, which is prompt 21, which is a dungeon. All of the odd numbers are dungeon dives and the even numbers are monsters. So our first roll, we got a 21, which is actually a prompt that I got in January, but I'm not going to choose the same book. So this is the dungeon Forsaken Ruins. You stand before the ruins, their crumbling towers swallowed by vines and shadow. Whispers curl through the air as though they are fragments of stories long forgotten. They say a once great library lies buried beneath the rubble, guarded by the echoes of readers who never left. To explore these ruins, you must choose your book wisely. The challenge rating is a level 5 for 2000 XP. Can you escape? Roll a d20. Getting a 5 or below, you get lost. The book must fit the prompt and also be 425 pages or longer. Let's roll. We got a 1 again. Just like last month, I lost, which of course I did. The prompt is reading a backlist book from 3 or more years ago helps you gain the knowledge needed to traverse the ruins and successfully escape. So I need a book that is more than 3 years old and over 425 pages. Last month I chose Dark Dawn by J. Kristoff, which as we know is getting rolled over, which is a finale to a series. And to keep on theme with that, which has nothing to do with the prompt, but more to do with my TBR and my goals, I will be rolling in this month Clockwork Princess, the third and final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. I have absolutely loved this trilogy so far, way more than the Mortal Instruments. I love the dark, gritty, smoggy 1800s London that we're in. I love the love triangle here between Will and Jem and Tessa. I just want Tessa to love everybody. But I'm going to be choosing this. When was this published? This was published in 2013, so definitely over 3 years old, and it has 569 pages, so it's over 425 pages as well. Time for our second roll. Roll number 2. 1 and 11, another dungeon. We are still doing dungeons, I guess. We rolled an 11. This dungeon dive says party conflict. Meeting some friends along the way in our journey has proved fruitful. At least stopping at the taverns has been nice to share stories with our fellow adventurers. Stopping at a new tavern, we run into a familiar face. Only things don't seem as friendly as they once were, and an argument ensues. Challenge rating 4, 1100 XP. Prompt: a book with heavy interpersonal drama. Upon failure of this prompt, take 1100 XP for emotional damage. I cannot afford to lose any more XP. Okay, a book with heavy interpersonal drama. For this, I am choosing The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This was so kindly gifted to me by Bestie Sam for my birthday off my Amazon wish list. Thank you so much, Sam. And as an apology for failing my January TBR, which you made the best ever, and it was totally on me, I'm immediately going to put this on my February TBR. I don't know what this is about aside from figure skating and drama. So I feel like this is going to work out well. I loved Jane Fargo's other book, They Never Learn, which was about a female serial killer and feminine rage. Loved that book so much, so I'm really excited to get to this. To the world, they were a scandal. To each other, an obsession. Part Wuthering Heights, part Daisy Jones and the Six. This novel is as brilliantly choreographed as a gold medal performance and will keep you guessing until its last page. That was a review from Jodi Picoult. I'm really excited for this, and I think it fits this prompt perfectly. Let's do roll number 3. Roll number 3. 9. Another dungeon. I cannot get away from these odd numbers, and now my voice is going. We got a 9. A beholder's lair, a large, spacious cavern with high ceilings where the beholder can attack without fear of getting close to melee range. In this particular lair, we encounter an aggressive, hateful, greedy aberration that dismisses all other creatures as lesser beings, toying with them or destroying them as they choose. Unfortunately, this one is aiming to destroy us. This beholder is protected by chitinous plates and has eye stalks like tentacles. It attacks via rays that shoot from its eyeball tentacles and can charm, paralyze, slow, petrify, or disintegrate its enemies. Challenge rating 14. Oh my goodness, this actually sounds terrifying. We would gain 11,500 XP for completing. The prompt is Beholder. Read a book that offers a unique POV or a multi-POV structure. So on the surface, this is actually a very easy prompt, but I wanted to go with the unique POV. And I have the perfect book that, sorry, I think I have a cat hair like in my concealer or something, which I need to read to complete a square on my Herkyed board, which I'm just like low-key doing when I feel like it. And I am choosing Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I do not own this book, but I do have it out from Libby currently. And it is multi-POV, which accounts for that, but the unique POV is the octopus. I don't remember the octopus's name. Let's see if I can pull it up. Marcellus the octopus. He is a giant Pacific octopus at the aquarium, and we do get his POV in this book. So it does count. I think this book is going to be really touching. I've heard really great reviews. It's not very long, and it will also complete a square on my Herkyed board, which is exciting because I'm gonna have like 3 squares completed by the time the year is done, because that challenge is so hard. But I needed to read a book that had like zoo animals as the main focus, and I feel like an aquarium and a zoo are close enough that I'm gonna count this book. Let's do our 4th and final roll. 4th roll. We got a 6 and a 6, so that is going to be, what, 46? We got the number 46, which is a monster. This is The Lost Children. Oh, this is like my worst nightmare and so creepy. The Lost Children. I am reading off of Tori's document here. Their forms flicker at the edges of vision. Silhouettes too small, footsteps too light, voices carried on the wind like fragments of a song. Children's laughter echoes eerily through the halls of the crumbling orphanage you found yourself in. To those who listen, they whisper of the world as it was, asking for names, warmth, or stories. Anything that makes them feel alive again. But beware, pity feeds them. The more you listen, the clearer they become, and when they remember too much of life, they begin to take from yours a smile, a heartbeat, a shadow. Oh, terrifying. Prompt. The lost children feed on stories left untold. For this reading prompt, the longer the book, the more XP gained, so the children get more of a story. The more story they get, the less they'll take from you. So we have here between 350 pages or less is 700 XP, sorry. And then there's a few different brackets leading up to over 800 pages, you get 6,000 XP. So this is essentially a free space, and I am going to keep it as such. I'm not going to lock in a book, but as we know, I read between 5 and 10 books a month, and they're hardly ever off my freaking TBR. So I'm going to take this advantage and plop in any book I read that's not in this stack for this prompt. Even if it's something short and I get just that 700 XP, it will still be like a monster completed, a prompt completed, and I will be happy with that. Aside from that, I have a couple other books I want to be reading. I want to read Blood and Steel by Helen Schurer. I am a part of Raven-Haired Readers Patreon, and we are going to be starting the Legends of Thesmar as our series read along. For the buddy read, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get my hands on this book, so this is why it's not on the official TBR, but just as books I want to read. Half City by Kate Golden is our Patreon buddy read for the month. It isn't expected to release until February 17th. I don't know if it will be on KU or if I'll be able to get it from my library, but This is a part of a new series by Kate Golden. It is Harker Academy. So we do have an academy setting. Welcome to Harker Academy, where for deviant defense, keep your daggers sharp and your wits even sharper. I love an academic setting. And I have 2 other books off my physical TBR I pulled off my shelves for this month. Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This has been on my shelf for a really long time, and I should read it in the winter, as it is a hockey ice skater romance, and it's also a romance. And I feel like I should read at least one romance in the month of February, the month of love. So this is something I hope to get to in the month. And then I have No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is a wintry thriller. Isolated setting at like a truck rest stop, and everyone is snowed in, but there's a child in a cage in the back of one of the vehicles. And this, instead of chapters, it tells you what time it is. So I think this is something I'll be able to just binge through, because it's essentially like one night's worth. I don't know. I don't think it extends for more than a day. So it starts at dusk, 5:19 p.m. and then, trying not to spoil myself, I see an 8 a.m. near the end. I'm not going to look any further than that. So this spans like a little over 12 hours, like in through the night. And I think this will be a really fast read and a good one to pick up, as I'm currently buried in snow here in Canada. But my official TBR for Roll for Reads, we have these 2 books here. Remarkably Bright Creatures for the unique POV. And then maybe one of these will be for the Lost Children, or any other book I choose. Honestly, it will come to the end of the month and I'm going to plop in the longest book I read that was not already on my TBR to maximize my XP. But I do hope to get to these ones this month as well. Please tell me why I'm so terrible at sticking with the TBR when these videos are honestly my favorite to make. Whether I'm doing Roll for Reads, whether I'm doing my own TBR game I used to do, making any sort of TBR as part of a challenge or a list. I love making TBR so much, but I suck at sticking to them. Why is that? That's everything from me today. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know. Leave one of the books you hope to get to in the month of February in a comment below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!